Wala man lang kasagot-sagot. Okay, anyway, I'll choose the easiest. Guys, Gluon, speak up. Di naman masama magsalita. Okay, let's talk about example, or I mean problem number 1D. Mayroon na pala. Okay, 1D. Kung saan kayo nahirapan. No. Okay, so that's 2 sine cube. And etong 1E guys is just a duplication of double angles. Parang double angle, double angle, double angle hanggang sa, actually kahit hindi naman eh. Okay, so letter D, 2 sine cube theta. Ala, hindi pala ako nag-allot ng space. Wait lang guys. Let me allot the space for this. Discard. Oh nga pala, I forgot. Okay, wait. Here we go. So 1D, our problem is 2 sine cube theta. Let me just copy. Oops, let me change the color. White. 2 sine cube theta. Hindi ko pa ito nasasagutan. I hope di ako mapahiya, no? Okay. Oops. Naglag yung pen. Ayan. Ayan, late. 2 sine cube. Cosine square theta. A minus 1 equals sine theta. Tama ba ako, guys? Yan, tama. And it should be, the angle should be coming from the given range from 0 to 2 pi, inclusive of 0. Okay. 2 sine cube theta cosine square minus 1 sine theta. Okay, here we go. So here, the problem has 4 terms, guys, and the equation is composed of 2 different trigonometric functions, which are sine and cosine. So which means that we cannot solve it yet since there are different variables. Kasi, di ba, sabi ko before, we treat the trigonometric equation as an algebraic equation. Actually, algebraic lang naman talaga siya. Pinalitan lang yung variable ng sine and cosine, tangent, and whatsoever. Now here, guys, it's just like we have x and y in the given equation. Okay, so take note, if we have x and y variables in the given equation and we have only one equation, then we cannot solve the equation, or we can solve the equation, but there are infinite number of solutions for that. So for us to do that, for us to solve this equation, we need to convert the x to y or the y to x. What do I mean by that? We can convert sine, okay, sine to cosine or cosine to sine. The question there is, which one is easier to do? Are we going to deal with the sine and convert it to cosine, or we're going to deal with the cosine and convert it to sine? Okay, sige, tanong tayo. Chini, which one is easier to do or for us to solve this equation? Are we going to deal with the sine or cosine? Ayan, may sagot na pala si Jester. Wala ba si Chini, guys? Kayo ba yung sinabihan ko na whenever I call you, and then if you're still thinking, try to input 3 dots. It's just like you're typing, parang sa messenger lang. At least alam ko na nandyan kayo. Okay? We're not going to waste our time waiting. Okay. Now, wala naman pala kayo doon. So sabi ni Jester, we're going to use cosine and convert it to sine. Tama naman. Now, paano ni Jester na-decide, or mali, how did Jester decide on converting cosine instead of sine? Sige nga, Jester.
Sir, kasi mas madami yung number of sine na variable kaysa sa cosine.
Okay, pwede rin. Pero, pwede rin naman yung Jester, ha? Pero, hindi naman talaga siya yung pinaka-rason. Okay? Ano ba yung pinaka-rason kung bakit si cosine gagawin natin? Again, tama yung sinabi ni Jester, ha? Tama naman siya. One of the reasons. Pero hindi siya yung pinaka. Okay, one of the reasons, guys, is because if we're going to deal with the sine, eto, di ba makakakuha tayo ng square root dito? Square root of 1 minus cosine square. Okay, theta. Tapos eto naman, may square root din to. Di ba? Yeah, may square root din to. So dealing with square roots is actually not a good idea, diba? Pero doable naman siya, solvable naman siya. Okay, so ito yung iniiwasan natin kasi ang daming restrictions dito. So instead of dealing with the sign, now cosine, sir, bakit si cosine? Pwede naman siya mag-square root ah. Yes, it is possible to have a square root. Wait. Medyo slow ang pen natin ngayon, guys. Parang ako. Ayan. May square root siya. However, since there's a square, matatanggal si radical. Kaya nagiging simpler yung equation natin. Okay? That's one of the main reasons. And another one yung sinabi ni Jester na marami yung sign na terms kaysa sa cosine. I hope you got that, guys. Kasi choosing to treat or to convert, choosing or selecting a term or a trigonometric function to convert into another function, of course trigonometric then, is one of the things that makes your solutions be complicated. Okay? Magiging complex ang solution nyo if you're going to deal with a wrong choice of the function. Wait. Ayan. Okay, so now let's solve this using cosine square. Okay, and we know that cosine square is equal to 1 minus sine square. Review lang natin ng konti. And cosine theta, ba't walang theta? Cosine theta is equal to 1 minus sine square theta. Okay, so in this case, ang gagawin natin, there's a positive negative dito, di ba? Okay, so we have 2, let's copy. 2 sine cube, my God, 2 sine cube theta. Yan, nag-stop na naman guys. Wait lang, let's wait. Baka bukas pa yan. Ayun. 2 sine theta plus 1 minus sine square theta minus 1 is equal to, sige, dahan-dahan lang, sine theta. Ayan. Tama naman, di ba? Okay. So here we go. Let's simplify. We can cancel this out, di ba? And this becomes 2 sine, oops. Ba't pag n ayaw niya? Wait, let me just add or accept your classmate. Here we go. Theta. And then, i-transpose din natin to. So magiging siyang minus 2 sine theta. Oh my goodness gracious. Ayan. Ayan. Here we go. So we already simplified the equation and it turns out that we have already 2 terms in a given equation. Mas naging simple na siya. Okay? It becomes simpler. Now we have, and then we have common factors. We have 2 sine. Wait lang guys. Medyo pinapahirapan ako ng pen na to. So kailangan sobrang bagal magsulat. 2 sine theta times sine theta minus 1. Wait, I think there's something. Okay. Equals 0. Here we go. Now, since we already expressed the left-hand side as a product of 2 factors, malamang product then factors, 2 factors, and the other side is equal to 0, then we are now allowed to use the t-table, diba? Okay. Ano nga ba yun? 2 sine theta equals 0. 2 sine theta is equal to 0, and the other one is sine theta minus 1 is equal to 0. So we have sine theta is equal to 0 and sine theta is equal to 1. Here we go. So we have 2 equations that we're going to deal with. We know that sine theta, or here, theta is equal to the inverse sine of 0. Dito naman, theta is the inverse sine of 1. And what are the values of theta that would make sine theta equal 0? These are, ano nga ba yun? These are 0, and pi. Tama, di ba? And how about this? Let's say this is 1, this is 2. 1, this is 2. Okay, how about this? What are the values of sine that would make sine theta is equal? What's the value of theta that would make sine theta is equal to 1? That's pi over 2. Isa lang naman, di ba? Okay. However, since we know that sine function is periodic, ano to, Chini? Sine, bakit may 3 pi over 2? Chini. 3 pi over 2 is negative 1, right? Ayan. Oh, be careful dun, ah. Okay. So, theta 1 is equal to 0 pi. Wait lang, class. Napahirapan ako ng pen na to eh. Okay, so again, since the sine function is periodic, guys, it means it has infinite number of solutions. Wait, ba't naka-eraser? So which means that we need to express our final answer in a form of in a form such that it will give us all of the possible answers. So 0 plus 2 pi k. Ayan, ayaw magsulat ng 2 pi k. Tapos, yung isa naman ay pi plus 2 pi k. Palagi siyang 2 pi k, guys, di ba? 2 pi k. And the last one is pi over 2. Ayan, hindi na nakita. 2 pi k. Then, where k is an element, oh my God, where k is an element of integers. Okay? For now lang yan. However, there is a condition that says the values of theta should be coming from the range from 0 inclusive to 2 pi. Diba? So which means we need to consider that condition since it's part of the given problem, or it's part of the given in the problem. So here, once we add the value, or once we add 2 pi k to these three values of theta, 0, pi, and pi over 2, then it will give us a value of theta which are, wala na pala tong theta 1, which are more than 2 pi. So wala na siya. Okay? Tanggalin natin to because we're now talking about the general form of our final answer. Okay? Okay, here we go. So therefore, our final answer is, wait na class, i-move ko lang to. Dito na nga lang, next page na lang, or next slide. So our final answer is theta is an element of 0, pi over 2, and pi. Nakuha, class? And again, your final answer should be expressed in terms of a set because we're talking about sets. And of course, the value should be arranged accordingly, okay? Lowest to highest. Nakuha, guys. And when you write your final answer, make sure to highlight, put it in a quadrilateral, or put a highlighter or apply highlighter na madaling makita. Huwag naman sobrang liit na hindi ko na nakikita. Okay? Masakit sa mata. Okay, any questions, guys? Ganun lang. So when you look at the problem itself, okay? When you look at the problem, guys, it's just like the problem is unsolvable and not doable. Or doable naman siya kaso pahihirapan ka muna. Okay? That's the first impression that we could have. Pero tingnan nyo, nagbabalat kayo lang siya, 'di ba? Now it's up to you on how you're going to do the first move because the first move will give you the entire thing of your solutions. Kung nagkamali ka na agad sa first move, wala na, papahirapan ka na. Though makukuha mo pa rin yung sagot as long as you're not doing any violations regarding the mathematical properties. Okay? Or mathematical properties or rules. All right? So, ganun lang siya, class. Hindi siya ganun kahirap. Okay? Ang mas mahirap pa nga ata, ito mga ganito. Pero not so kasi madali naman siyang i-convert. As long as you know the identities because the identities are very important. Okay? And I hope you still remember the identities since we already discussed those and we even discussed the derivation of those identities from fundamentals. All right? Now, any questions, guys? Again, sa problem set nyo at sa exams, sa formative assessments, kailangan nakaganito yung sagot, ha? Okay, wala na. Okay, here we go. Good? Make sure na wala na, ha? Okay, now let's move on to another application. Another application ba? Another type of trigonometry. Okay, this is what we call the analytic trigonometry. Why analytic? Kasi it's more of, ano ba? It's more of analysis. So kahit naman nung una nag-a-analyze tayo, di ba? Yeah, it's still part of analytic trigonometry. Okay? So here, we will be using the concept of the trigonometric functions, specifically the sine and cosine, okay, in solving triangles. So our objectives are, uh, we need to state and illustrate the law of sines. Next is solve problems involving right and oblique triangles using law of sines. So dito class, since we cannot limit our angle measures in a given triangle, so we are allowed to use calculator for now. However, pinag-iisipan ko pa sa long test natin kung gagamit tayo ng calculator, hindi. Pag hindi tayo gagamit ng calculator, of course, we're going to make use of the special angles. Malamang. Kasi kahit nga ako, hindi ko alam paano kunin yung mga angle measures. Okay? Using trigonometric functions. Non-special angles, of course. Pero class, ang dami sa grade 10 ang gagaling, sobra. Nakuha nila kung paano kunin yung angle measures. Even sine 2 degrees, sine 3.5 degrees, or sine 99 pi over 363 or 367 degrees, nakuha nila yon. Hindi ko lang alam kung paano nila nakuha. With 5 decimal places pa, ha? Ang galing, di ba? Masyado akong napabilib doon. Okay, pero tingnan natin sa long test. Kung makuha pa nga, ay malamang makukuha pa yun kasi wala tayong bantay, di ba? Okay, so now let's move on. Sinabi ko lang class, I hope na naintindihan nyo kung anong gusto kong sabihin, na bawal ang calculator. You cannot, sir, paano mo malalaman? Bahala kayo, basta ako alam ko kung sino at paano nyo ginagawa yun. Kasi madaling makita sa math yun. Okay, so before we solve the triangle, kasi the solving triangle is or has a definition, okay? Now let's define what an oblique triangle is. So this is very basic. An oblique triangle is a triangle that has no right angle. So therefore, oblique triangle is bakit neither? Is either an acute triangle or an obtuse triangle. So it can never be a right triangle. All right? So solving a right or an oblique triangle. Sir, bakit oblique dito tas no right pagdating dito, right or oblique? Ayan, yun na. Right or oblique. Solving a right or oblique naman sinabi dyan, di ba? Means finding the lengths of all the sides as well as the measures of all the angles of the triangle. So when I say, guys, solve the triangle, syempre may magtatanong pa dyan, sir, ano pong isosolve? My God. Ganun yung mga estudyante. Okay? Sir, ano po bang isosolve? By definition, ito na, dinidefine na natin. Okay? By definition, we are going to solve all of its missing parts. Ano ba yung missing parts? We have the sides and we have the angle measures. Yun lang naman ang parts natin when it comes to quantities of triangles. Okay? So the vertices, the angle measures of the vertices, of course, and the side lengths. Yun yung isosolve natin. Okay? So I hope wala na magtatanong kung anong isosolve, ha? Now, to do so, we must have sufficient information satisfying one of the following 4 cases. So these are the, ano bang tawag dito? This came from the postulates, theorems, corollaries that we already discussed when we talk about triangles. Remember, guys, the what's this? The similarity triangles and the congruent triangles. Okay, we talk about the SSS, SAS, ASA. May SAA tayo, di ba? Meron naman. Kaso wala lang tayong SSA or AA or ASS. Ba't di na lang ginawang ASS? Mas madali tandaan. Di ba, class? Pag mga kabulastugan ang mga estudyante madaling tumanda dyan. Okay. Ayan, SSA or ASS, madali yan. Okay, so gagamitin natin to class para mas madali yung matandaan. Diba? Kasi mas madaling makita yung mali kaysa yung tama. Ganun ang mga tao eh. Okay, so now guys, these are the 4 cases that we can consider for us to solve the triangles. Again, solve triangles in a different method. Okay, so we can use either the law of sines or the other one, which is the law of cosines. Sir, may law of tangent ba? Meron naman, pero tangent kasi is using sines and cosines. So why complicate things, diba? If we can use law of sines or law of cosines. So here, the first 2 class can be used, or the context of 1 and 2 conditions or cases can be used, can be solved using the law of sines. All right, and the last 2, the 3 and 4, the SSS and the SAS can be solved by can be solved by law of cosines. Okay, but for now, we're just going to discuss the law of sines. But if we can finish earlier, then we can discuss law of cosines as well. Okay, so madali lang naman to class actually. Now, how do we perform law of sines, and what does law of sines mean? Okay. Now, here, in a given triangle ABC, whatever type of triangle it could be a right, it could be oblique. Okay? So when we say oblique, it could be acute or obtuse. So lahat ng types of triangle applicable dito. So in triangle ABC, let A, be the sides ABC, ABC, all right? And the angles alpha, beta, ano nga ba to, class? Hindi to lambda eh. Gamma ba to? Hey, I forgot
Sir,
this.
gamma, sir, gamma.
Gamma, okay. So tama naman ako. O lambda kasi iba eh. Okay. So gamma, pero ako kasi class, I don't complicate things. No, why don't you just use the letters of the name of the vertices? They can be used naman as an angle measure, di ba? Pero syempre, we are using the conventional way of naming an angle. So dapat kung angle A, aling angle A dyan? Kasi it could be the reflex angle that we're talking about. So to be specific, we are going to use the alpha, the small letters of Greek alpha. Tama ba ako? The Greek letters. Wait. Nagkahalo-halo yung term doon. Basta, alam nyo na yun. The Greek letters. Okay? Written small. What the? Okay. The small letters of Greek alphabet. Ayun. So, kasi class, kung hindi natin gagamitin si alpha, we will be using this. Something like this. Nainis na sa akin si Limuel eh. Nag-comment na. BAC. Ganyan. Angle BAC. So, medyo mahaba. So, instead of doing this, now we can just make use of angle alpha. Diba? Ayan. Pwede naman to eh. Or, actually, pwede naman actually to eh. Ina-accept naman to. Since we're talking about triangles, therefore, the interior angles are the ones that we're talking about here, not the reflex ones. Okay? So, I do accept this. Oh my. I do accept this notation. So, here, alpha is the opposite, letter A, small letter A is the opposite of alpha, small letter B is the opposite of beta or the vertex B, and small letter C as a side length is the opposite of gamma, which is the vertex C. So para mas madaling matandaan, class, kung ano yung opposite ng vertex, siya yung pangalan ng side para hindi tayo nalilito or nahihilo. Okay? And so what is the formula, sir, for the law of sines? Madali lang, class. Okay. Now, ang formula lang naman ito. Okay? So, alpha A, beta B, gamma C. Nakuha, guys? Or you can invert the notation. You could say A over sine A. Since A to, therefore angle A yan. Yun lang tatandaan niyo, class. B, sine B. Ayan, yan lang naman yan. BB and C, sine C. Para hindi na kayo mahilo. Nakuha, class? As long as you wrote or you place the letters properly and accordingly. Kasi pag nagkabali-baliktad yan, mahihirapan ka na. Although, let's say you did not memorize, okay lang naman, madali lang naman. Ito over sine ni angle. Ito over sine ni angle. Tapos ito naman over sine ni angle. Ganun lang yung class, yung law of sine. Okay? Nakuha ba class? Kasi baka mamaya sa formula pa lang, mali-mali na yung pagsulat, di mali na lahat. Okay? Okay, good. Isa lang yung nakakuha, si Ricardo lang. So, let's tackle example number 1. Okay, by the way, get ready with your calculator and help me solve with this. Okay, so the best way to do or to solve triangle class using law of sines and cosines is to illustrate a triangle or draw the triangle. Kasi it will give you the idea which are the opposites and which are the sides. Okay, so let's say this is our A, B, and C. And of course, this is our C, this is our B, and this is our A. Ayan. And our C is 16 centimeters. And our angle A, ito yon, alpha, is equal to 65 degrees. And angle beta or angle B is 71 degrees. Yan, isa lang yung given, no? And we don't have angle B, sorry, side B and side A. So what kind of case is this? This is angle side angle because the side is included in the two given angle measures. So kaya siya ginawang asa. Okay? Asa, ano nga ba yung mga conditions or mga cases? Asa, SAA, and SSA. SAA and SSA are for law of sines. Alright? Actually, kahit hindi mo siya i-memorize, madali lang naman malaman yun. Okay? Using the formula. So, here, our formula, let me just change the color. Our formula is, isulat nyo muna class, sine A over A is equal to sine B over B is equal, B2 ha, sine C over C. Alright? So, ayan. And then, substitute the given values. Sine A, ano bang A natin? 65 degrees. And don't forget to convert your, or set your calculator to degree mode. Okay? Para tama ang ibibigay sa yung value ng calculator. A over sine, what is the B or the beta? That's 71 degrees. Over B, wala namang B. And sine C, wala namang angle C over 16 centimeters. Okay, here we go. So this is now our formula. But again, guys, tingnan nyo, para lang siyang proportionality expression or equation, di ba? Yes, that's right. Because the law of sines was derived by proportional or similar triangles. Ganun lang yun, okay? Pwede siyang ma-derive ng using similarity or other context other topic in mathematics. Okay, so here, madali natin makukuha si angle C kasi we have already two angles given. And we know that the sum of the angles is 180. So 65, 7 to 1, that's 136. And that's 44. Tama ba ako, class? 44 degrees. So we have already found angle C to be 44 degrees. Ayan, ang dali lang, di ba? So, unahin nyo yung pinakamadali. Usually, angle, okay? Pag ASA. So here, we're now going to solve for the side lengths. Now, the question here is, sir, may tatlong equation or may tatlong terms. Sino po dyan ang gagamitin natin? Okay, ganito. Isipin mo to, guys. Pag ito yung kinuha mong proportion or yung ratio, yung proportion niya, makakakuha ka kaya ng value ng A and B? Malamang hindi because A and B are unknown, di ba? Dapat may isa dyan na unknown and the rest are knowns. Okay? So which means, class, we can use the second equation, eto, to solve for B, or we can use this, tapos eto, to solve for A. Diba? Nakuha, class? Since equal naman sila, malamang transitive property, equal din tong dulong to, yung extremes. Okay? Sir, ano naman si C? Di ba nakuha na natin si C dito? Siyempre, kukunin mo muna siya kasi siya yung pinakamadaling hanapin. Okay, so therefore, we could solve for sine. Dinidiscuss ko class thoroughly. Alam kong alam nyo naman to para pagdating sa complex part ay alam nyo na kung paano. And I'm not going to discuss thoroughly those problems. So A is equal to, again, we're going to make use of the last one, sine, ano nga ba? 44 degrees, di ba? Yung si C over, oh, sorry, ano nga ba yun? Sine 16. And the other one is sine 71b in degrees 2, and sine 44 over 16. Tama ba? Yes. Okay. All right. So here, alam nyo na to. This is a simple algebra. So A is equal to 16 times sine 65 over sine 44. Ayan. Okay. So guys, can you help me with this? Using your calculator? And since we are rounding off our values, so we should be using approximation notation, okay, or estimation. 21, sakto ba, Chini? Saktong 21. Let's use 2 decimal places. So 21 point something or 20, yan, 20.87. And what's the unit? Ano nga ba yung unit nito? Centimeter. Don't forget the unit, sayang ng 1 point, guys. Okay, so we have already found the value of A, which is 20.87. Thank you, Chini. And for those who have calculator with them at this moment, kindly recheck. May calculator na kayo, mamamali-mali pa kayo dyan, sayang naman yung points. Okay, it usually happens. Okay, lalo na, I just want to share, guys, kasi may isa akong estudyante nun, sobrang galing niya. Actually, ayun for valedictorian siya. Physics nung tinuturo ko that time. And then, we're using trigonometry, of course, sa physics. And then, gumamit siya ng calculator. She forgot to change the mode of the calculator to degree. Kasi nag-degree kami. And then radian, kasi may trigo din sa math namin. Ayun, bagsak yung periodic exam niya because of that. Okay? Kaya be careful. Learn from that mistake. Di ba sayang yung pinag-aralan niya? I mean, yung pinag-aralan niya, yung inaral niya, I mean, hindi yung pinag-aralan mismo. Okay, baka ma-quote ako doon. Okay, sayang yung inaral niya na topics. Pero nag-valedictorian pa rin naman. Okay, help me with this, guys. Be approximately what? May nangyari na ba sa inyo noon? Sa physics din? Ganyan? Sayang. Oh, guys, what's the answer? Wala, natulog ng gluon. Hey, magta-time na. Gluon? Do you hear me? Parang si Chini lang atang tao dito.
Sir, wait lang po.
Ay, sorry naman. Okay. Nagsasolve pa ba? Kanina pa ako guys ng dalal-dalo. Ito lang naman i-input yun, di ba?